Text here, David. Let's go to the text, and I have to go into Mr. Magoo mode here,
yes,
so I apologise. Guest 741, it says here, does Britain control America? Are we the home of the Illuminati?
Well, in many ways, it is one of the great centres of the manipulation, but it's not England. It's the centre of a network. And if I could just give people some background if they haven't come across this. When I spent years putting together the structure of how the world's controlled today, and it's a very simple structure, it's pyramids within pyramids. So if you look at like Russian dolls, one doll inside a bigger doll inside a bigger doll, the structure they've created is pyramids within pyramids within pyramids. So for instance, a bank is a pyramid. Most of the people that work in the bank are at the bottom of the pyramid. They're the people you give your checks to and all the rest of it. And you get the bank managers, and then you go up and go up and go up and go up until you get to the top of the bank, where a tiny few people are the only ones in receipt of the full understanding of the agenda of the bank, how all these different contributions fit together, and what the real direction and agenda is. Everyone else is just going to work, doing their little piece, and going home. They're not trying to manipulate anybody, but add all the contributions together, and it's a very different picture, and only they know how that fits together. And the bank goes into another pyramid and another pyramid, until you've got one that encompasses the whole of the global banking system. And at the top of that are the same interbreeding families. Transnational corporations in themselves are a pyramid. They go into pyramids that eventually encompass all of them. So at the top of that pyramid there is one transnational corporation under many names, not multiple ones as there appear to be. And it's the same with governments, political parties and all the rest of it. Which is why when you change government you don't change policy, because the different mask on the same faces come in called a different political party. This is all part of the illusion to give us the impression that we're free and have choice. Because if we knew we didn't, then we might do something about it. So then the question comes, Ross, who are these families that are in the end at the top of all these pyramids, whether it's transnational corporations, banking, religion, politics, whatever, they all go into the same families. I started to go back looking at an origin for this once I put this structure together. And I got way back, thousands of years BC, and this is only a point where you can pick the story up. It goes back much, much further than this, all over the world. But you can pick up places in the world, particularly Sumer, which became Babylon, which is now Iraq. You know, they've not just gone into Iraq for oil. They've gone in for multiple reasons, and one of them is that area, Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, is of fundamental historical and probably energetic importance to these families, because that's where so many of them came from. And what they did is they moved out of that area, then they were all over other parts of the world as well, but these ones I've particularly focused on. They moved out, they eventually became the families behind the Roman Empire. They created the Roman Church, which became Christianity in all its forms. And then they moved up into Northern Europe, where they interbred with the elite families of that area, creating the European aristocracy and royal families. These European elite families were behind the colonial powers, not least Britain, the empire on which the sun never set, they said, which took over so much of the world. And then there came a point where it appeared that the European powers, colonial powers, had given independence to the former colonies. What they actually did was replace a form of dictatorship that has a finite life, which is one you can see, touch and taste, colonial rule, communism, fascism, apartheid. The power in Europe, let's take away more national sovereignty, let's have a president of Europe, a foreign minister of Europe. As if, oh yeah, I've had a good idea. It was all coordinated and planned. Of course they didn't do it then. They announced a free trade area. Just good for jobs. And then stepping stone, totalitarian tiptoe, exactly as planned from the start. They've taken away more and more sovereign power from nations and taken more to the center. And they want a global police force, yes, but they certainly want a European police force. We're now talking about DNA databases in Britain outrageously being created through taking the DNA of people who are never convicted of anything. And fusing that with a European database on DNA. So now we've got the European Union database, and they want to have a European army which will be part of the world army. Funny, I was talking about the world army, and a journalist said to me, what's the use of a world army? There'd be no one to fight, you know. And I thought, you're a journalist, aren't you? Of course, what the world army is there for is to impose the will of the world government on any nation or group on the planet that doesn't want to accept the diktats of the world government. This is what it's all about. And this surveillance and this constant Orwellian explosion of new laws and impositions, that's not there for the mass of the people, because they know the mass of the people will just go along with it and keep their heads down. All that is for the people who are waking up and are seeing the game and therefore have the power to do something about it, which we do.
Now, one of the interesting things that you out there may or may not know about what David's talking about tonight is last weekend there was a secret meeting took place in America in a place called Lake Clear, reported in one small independent newspaper, nowhere else in America. And apparently the heads of the military top brass in the Pentagon, Germany, France, Italy, and apparently they believe Great Britain, that was put in there as apparently because nobody knew for sure, all got together for a secret meeting. Now, what would be the purpose of that? Why a secret meeting of all the top military brass from Europe and America in one place? Could be a rational explanation, something to do with Iraq, for instance, and withdrawal of troops, but I think that's unlikely.
Well, when you get to the level of the secret agenda rather than the movie, there's a very logical explanation. When people at these high levels of the military from all over the world get together, it's a simple thing: coordination of policy, coordination of approach, coordination of action. Because through these pyramids, the military is also pyramids within pyramids. I mean, they send the troops out to Iraq and Afghanistan to get blown away, and they're just the fodder. And when they come back, you know, oh, support our troops. Yeah, get our troops out there to get killed and kill people. Oh, that's great. Oh, we've got some troops back, and they've been blown away. They've lost limbs. They've been burned horrifically. What are we going to do with them? Shh. Hey, want a pension? Oh, not sure about that. What compensation? Oh, not sure about that. There's a lot in it, and all the rest of it. So that's the level of the bottom of the pyramid in the military. But you start going up, and those people fighting at that level, they think they're fighting terrorists in Iraq. Right. They think they're fighting terrorists in Afghanistan. When you get up to this level, with the kind of level that you're talking about, those people know far more about what the agenda is and the fact that it is a coordinated agenda to take the planet over. And to do that, if you want a world centrally controlled tyranny, you have to centralize power, and that includes in the military, and that's what these sort of meetings are all about.
Okay, well, let's go back to the DVD. This was David talking at the Brixton Academy recently, earlier this year. I want to take a look at this particular clip, and we'll be back talking some more afterwards. Don't forget, keep those texts coming in, 87778, type the word EDGE, leave a gap, and then your message. Let's have a look at this next clip.
Now, this is doing the rounds quite a lot at the moment. The law of attraction, they call it. I've been talking about this for years. In terms of what you put out is what you pull back, but I think there are a lot more elements to it than some people seem to think. When you are in a certain vibrational state because of your emotional, mental state, all the rest of it, you're putting out a vibration that reflects that. It's like I call it magnetic attraction, basically. Vibrational magnetism, I call it. And that is going to lock into vibrational fields of like frequency, and it's going to draw them towards you like a magnet. So what you put out, you lock into and draw towards you. When people, you know, I've met so many people that keep attracting the same kinds of people into their lives. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, sorry hell, not another one. It's like just the same as that last bloke and the one before him. Why? Because what's going out ain't changing, so what's coming in isn't changing. Because what we draw into us as relationships and jobs and experiences and all that stuff is a reflection, a holographic reflection of us.